Now for global business updates, Rotus Oddiri joins us. Good morning, Rotus.
Good morning, Dr. Bassi. Good morning, Ayo. Good morning, Rufai. Good morning, all our viewers out there. We start with U.S. President Trump. State visits to the U.K. planned for later on today. According to U.S. and U.K. officials, they're planning about $10 billion worth of deals to sign in technology, in energy. He's going to be accompanied by a number of technology CEOs, Jensen Huang of NVIDIA, Sam Altman of OpenAI, I think Tim Cook of Apple, and then you've got the heads of BlackRock, I think a couple asset managers that will be there as well. I think Rachel Reeves is going to be unveiling a new data center. I think it's in Hertfordshire or somewhere later on today, but there's a lot planned. He's going to meet the king and the Queen today. He's going to have a state banquet at Windsor Castle tomorrow, and then he has that meeting with Keir Starmer. Speaking of tech companies, Alphabet, parent company of Google, has joined the $3 trillion club. This was in intraday trading yesterday, just crossing $3 trillion. So you have NVIDIA at 4.2, Microsoft at 3. Microsoft even crossed 4, I think fell a little bit. Alphabet at 3.49, and then, Apple, and then Alphabet. So again, these companies, market cap increases because, of course, there was that court case that went their way. They didn't have to sell off Google, or rather Chrome. And then you just have market participants just anticipating more growth for Alphabet going forward. To the Federal Reserve, first, Stephen Moran, Trump's pick to temporarily fill the Fed seat has been confirmed. It was razor thin. I think it was 48 to 47 in the U.S. Senate. So it went along party lines. Democrats still feel that because he's appointed by the president, he's just going to bring the president's agenda to the Fed. The meeting starts today. Decision is tomorrow. On the other hand, Lisa Cook, she won the appeals court. Remember, a judge rejected Trump's attempt to fire her last week. Trump quickly appealed it and asked for them to quickly take the case. The appeals court sided with the prior court and said that he does not have the right to fire. But it was a 2-1 decision, so I understand it was pretty close here. So she also will be part of that Federal Reserve meeting. Now, people are saying 50 basis points. If you cut 50 basis points, you're going to panic the markets because it suggests that maybe the labor market is weaker than you think. So it's 25 that is expected for tomorrow. So we'll see what happens. Meanwhile, Trump, there's so many headlines from him. He puts out a Truth Social post. This isn't new. He tried this in 2018. He's basically saying here, subject to SEC, that's the Securities and Exchange Commission, companies and corporations should no longer be forced to report on a quarterly basis. He's saying they should do it half year. And the SEC says they'll look into it. He tried it in 2018, but then they ran out of time before they could actually try and implement it. Now he's got more time because he's attempted to push it early in this 4-year term. The thing is, Wall Street isn't really happy to hear that because quarterly reports for publicly traded companies bring about more transparency. To have to wait 6 months for a company to report its earnings, not really good. So we'll see how far that goes. But I mean, anybody who looks at earnings and everything, you want to see how a company is doing on as regular a basis as possible. Because remember, these earnings reports are followed by earnings calls, where the CEO and CFO sits down with journalists, investors, and talks about what is going on. You're putting your money in a company. You want to know what is going on a regular basis. Yeah, Trump is he's an interesting gentleman. But anyway, he's upending things. I think we go to Hollywood now. Has anyone seen Demon Slayer, the latest film from Sony? It's an anime film from Japan. It made a new record. It's a new record in the North American box office, $70.6 million. The last record was Pikachu, the first movie back in, I think, 1999, and that did about $31 million. The film came out here, and Nigerians came out to celebrate it. They were doing cosplay, so you had a number of Nigerians dressing up here as Demon Slayer characters. The movie was released here. I forget how much it made, but I think it made a decent amount of money here in Nigeria as well. And speaking of Nigeria, because this is spending and ticket prices, well, they've been going up, so that takes me to inflation. We did preview inflation yesterday, and inflation has actually slowed now for a 5th month in a row to 20.12% in August. This is from 21.88 in July. We updated our chart, so you can now clearly see a deceleration trend. And again, just for people out there, inflation measures the rates at which prices move. It's what pretty much prices rise. So just because they are seeing this deceleration, this is month on month, you can see the pronounced trend for month on month inflation. It doesn't mean that prices are exactly. So, you know, so what we're seeing here is disinflation, which is now we're seeing a sustained trend of prices coming down. Deflation, which is what you're seeing in China, is where prices just actually fall, you know, precipitously. But that is our update for today.
I mean, real quickly, it just shows that the man up there in America does not even know what he's talking about as regards
Trump,
businesses. And because it's obvious. You see, and when I saw the Truth Socials, we tried to compare America and China. Then you wonder, like Ludacris will say, how low can you go? How low can you go? How low? Because we all know China. Is it not China that had Evergrande?
That's right.
That companies didn't come clean? That an Evergrande disaster almost led to a total collapse?
Property sector is still
that
in trouble.
Evergrande has built up properties worth as much as, you know, some small towns and cities as we speak today, and they can't sell the property because you don't have scrutiny and accountability, and then you are comparing yourself with China. So why is it that you have a man in the helms of affairs in America that compares himself with the very worst of the world? And that's the reflection and outlook. And now, okay, he's going to the UK, yeah, state visa and all of that. He's acting like he's the one signing the big checks. No, it's the companies.
Tech companies,
It's the tech companies. I mean...
the tech companies, and that is one of the legacies Lord Mandelson has said he's leaving behind in exiting as the UK ambassador to the US, and $10 billion worth of investment. And these are the kinds of deals that we want to see when you spend money for a state visit like this, whereby we have measurable impact. We have impact to the people, to the GDP of the economy. And I say this because we often talk about bilateral meetings with Nigeria and other countries. And usually what we ask for is, what have we gotten out of this visit? What have we gotten out of this expenditure with a retinue of aides to travel abroad for a state visit, whether home or abroad? So this is an example of that. You talked about Thursday's meeting with Kestama, which perhaps is the most important. The others are ceremonial, where he would meet with the king and queen, he'd have a state banquet. But the details, of course, to the steel industry, aluminium industry, like I mentioned earlier on in Britain, and to see how, through diplomatic relationships, they can have conversations around how they can bring the tariff down. Already, they enjoy lower tariffs. They've been able to negotiate, lower tariffs for aluminium and steel, which Trump came on very hard when he came into office. So it's good to see these kinds of diplomatic relationships that translate to economic benefit for a nation like Britain and, of course, the United States. It's not just going to be one-sided. Trump is not just there to give, goodwill, but also to see how
he's a deal maker.
He's a deal maker, and that's what presidents, that's what leaders should do. We want deals that would benefit, that will be mutually benefiting.
Well, Trump is visiting the UK at the King's invitation at a time of serious turmoil in UK politics. Kestama is looking for very good news. Against the background of Angela Rayner resigning over, mortgage issues, the cabinet having to be reshuffled, issues with, immigration. His popularity in YouGov has gone down. 69% of the respondents disapprove of him. 12% say, oh, they don't mind him. The rest are undecided. So if he succeeds with the deal with regard to steel and aluminium, that would be very good news for him. Beyond the fact that the British government, is going all out to give Trump a very good reception. But we'll see how that goes. As for the markets seem to be doing well. S&P, historic high, 6,600. Even the Dow Jones, has surpassed all expectations, which is that the anxiety that we had in January about inflation rising, about the cost of the tariffs, investors seem to, have shrugged that all off. About Lisa Cook, the main point that the U.S. District Court in the District of Columbia is making is about the independence of the central bank. Trump has tried to push the Supreme Court. Scott Bessent has tried to intimidate the courts. But we see a judiciary in the United States that is independent, that is saying that the Enabling Act, the Federal Reserve Act, talks about independence, and you cannot remove except for cause. And that for cause is not established in Lisa Cook's case. All these precedents may well inform how the Supreme Court will decide at the end of the day. Inflation in Nigeria, you like to report from the market. Maybe you should give us a report from the market so that we can see the empirical evidence in terms of how food inflation has gone down. It's a long time you went to the market to give us market reports. No, you want to do banking. We want cost of tomato and potato.
I'll do a report. It's coming. It's coming.
Anyway, thank you, Rotus.
Thank you.